Welcome to a deep dive investigation into the most influential figure in human history, the man who spoke to God. Moses, known as Moshe in Hebrew and Musa in Arabic, is the only human being who stands as the common denominator and human fountainhead for the three major Abrahamic faiths: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In the Hebrew Bible, only King David is mentioned more frequently, and in the Quran, Moses is the most cited individual of all, appearing 136 times. This script will explore the 120-year journey of a man defined by the paradox of unparalleled divine intimacy and profound human frailty. Moses' story begins not with a throne, but with a crisis of survival. He was born into the house of Levi during the New Kingdom period of Egypt, a time when a cruel pharaoh had ordered the execution of all male Hebrew infants. His parents, Amram and Jochebed, were moved by his striking beauty, described in the New Testament as no ordinary child, and hid him for 3 months. Exodus chapter 2, verse 3. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a wicker basket and covered it over with tar and pitch. Then she put the child into it and set it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile. His sister, Miriam, watched from a distance as providence unfolded. In the biblical account, the Pharaoh's daughter finds him. In the Quranic tradition, it is the Pharaoh's wife, Asiya, who rescues him and persuades the Pharaoh to adopt him as a joy of the eye. This duality of identity is even found in his name. The Hebrew Moshe means to draw out, while the Egyptian his name signifies son. Raised in the Egyptian palace, Moses became educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and grew into a powerful prince. However, his heart remained with his brethren. At age 40, his life took a violent turn when he witnessed an Egyptian taskmaster beating a Hebrew slave. Moses acted with impulsive justice, killing the Egyptian and burying him in the sand. This act of undisciplined anger forced him to flee into the desert of Midian as a fugitive. For the next 40 years, the prince became a shepherd. In Midian, he sat by a well and defended the 7 daughters of Jethro, also known as Reuel, the friend of God, from aggressive shepherds. Jethro gave Moses his daughter, Zipporah, in marriage. Together they had 2 sons, Gershom and Eliezer. This period was Moses' silent years, where he traded the luxury of the palace for the humility of the pasture. Shepherding was a traditional training ground for leadership. Just as Abel and David were shepherds, Moses was learning the quiet virtues of stewardship and patience. Exodus chapter 3, verse 2. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. At age 80, the silence was broken. God revealed himself as I am who I am, or Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, a name declaring God to be self-existent and unchangeable. Moses, once a man of action, was now a man of reluctance, offering excuses such as a speech impediment. God commissioned his brother Aaron to be his spokesman, and Moses was sent back to Egypt as the mediator of the Old Covenant. Moses returned to Egypt and unleashed 10 plagues that challenged every Egyptian deity, concluding with the Passover, where the blood of a lamb on doorposts spared the Hebrew firstborn. After the miraculous Red Sea crossing, where the waters were divided by the finger of God, Moses led the Israelites to Mount Sinai. Here Moses transitioned from a liberator to a nomophetes, or the great lawgiver. He received the Torah, Hebrew for instruction, or the Pentateuch, Greek for 5 books. These laws were not mere suggestions. They were a theokratia, a term coined by Josephus to describe a community ruled by God. Customs and laws explained. The Decalogue, 10 commandments. These are the 10 principles for living in harmony with God and humans. The first 4 describe our relationship with God, and the final 6 focus on relationships with others. The mezuzah. Based on Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 9, Jews inscribe these laws on doorposts. The case, called a mezuzah, is touched by believers as they enter or exit, signifying that the law is not just on stone, but integrated into daily awareness. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 9, write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. The tabernacle. God gave Moses specific instructions for a holy tent where the divine could dwell among the people. Moses' leadership was shaped by his family in profound ways. His family tree consists of his mother, Jochebed. Her faith and commitment saved him from the Nile. His sister Miriam, a prophetess who led the people in song after the Red Sea, but later rebelled against Moses' authority out of jealousy over his Cushite wife. His brother, Aaron, the first high priest who was Moses' spokesman but famously failed during the golden calf incident. His father-in-law, Jethro. He served as Moses' administrative mentor, advising him to delegate judicial tasks to able men so that Moses would not wear himself out. Finally, we see the succession waterfall, from the divine authority to Moses, the split in roles, and finally to Joshua, his successor. Moses mentored Joshua for 40 years. Their relationship was built on selection for potential and service-oriented promotion. Moses prepared Joshua for the baton of leadership by honoring him in front of the people. Despite his status, Moses is a compelling figure because he possesses human faults. He is famously described in the book of Numbers. Numbers chapter 12, verse 3. Now the man Moses was very humble, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. This meekness wasn't weakness. It was a teachable spirit and the confidence to let God defend his rights. However, Moses struggled with a volatile temper, a simmering cauldron beneath the bedrock of his life. He smashed the tablets of the law in rage at the golden calf. He struck the Egyptian taskmaster. The fatal mistake at Meribah. When the people grumbled for water, God commanded Moses to speak to the rock. Instead, in a moment of burnout and rage, Moses struck the rock twice, shouting, "Listen now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?" Because he failed to treat God as holy in front of the people, he was barred from entering the Promised Land. Moses died on Mount Nebo at the age of 120, but the Bible notes his eyes were not weak nor his strength gone. His burial was unique. The Lord buried him in a valley in Moab, and no one knows the location of his grave to this day. Traditions suggest this was to prevent his grave from becoming a place of idolatrous pilgrimage. Moses across faiths. Judaism, he is Moshe Rabbeinu, or our teacher, the father of all prophets whose prophecy is uniquely binding. Christianity, Moses is a type and shadow of Jesus Christ. He appeared with Elijah on the Mount of Transfiguration to bear witness to Jesus' glory. Islam, he is Musa Kalim Allah, or the one who spoke to God, and his meeting with the mysterious Khidr in Surat al-Kahf is a central lesson on the limits of human knowledge and the need for patience. Deuteronomy chapter 34, verse 10. Since then, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. Moses' legacy is the living Torah. He was the bridge between the infinitely transcendent divine and the flawed world of human beings. Through his, quote, steadfast obedience, he transformed his temper and self-doubt into a channel for divine grace, forging an enduring identity for millions that remains a source of hope 3 millennia later. Thank you for joining us for this character study of Moses. Like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.